Hey everyone, how's it going? Got video number 2 coming up here on our Grind It Out series. We're going to be folding here in this middle table with ace 5. And yeah, so we're just firing up. Basically our bankroll for starting these 6 tables is, right now we're at $55. I believe we started the last video at 50. That's how much we put onto the site, so right now the bankroll's up $5, give or take. The king 6 here, we're just going to fold. There won't be a lot of excitement, obviously, in the early stages, so we'll try to keep the commentary live and interesting, at least. But you can't really get it into any sort of tricky situations. It's just not the best, plus EV play with at NL2, obviously. It's going to be pretty straightforward. Pretty simple plays, playing strong hands. Loosening strong hands out of position, loosening up a bit more in position, obviously, and going from there. And we have a pretty, oops, gotta be careful with that. Pretty simple strategy. I will limp with the 9-7 off here. It's not the best play in a cash game. A little bit better in small stakes singles and shit like that. I'm gonna ISO that, and we're gonna see what that, and we're going to check there, and we're going to continue barreling here. Oh fuck, I gotta be careful. I'm not used to playing such low, that's a definite continuation bet. Such lower stakes. The heck's he check raising right here? So I have a tendency to hit 0.5, and I'm going to be massively over betting if I keep doing that. We're going to float barrel big on the river here in the top left. Here in the bottom right, he check raises me on the 4 of diamonds after checking around on the fly. I don't know, I'm just going to fold to him. And he bets 8, so that to me screams like a blocking bet. I could 3-bet the ace-8 there. So what we're going to do is fire nice and big here because I really don't think he has a very strong hand. So we're just going to get aggressive with him. And he does fold, so that was a pretty easy play to read there, guys. The small bet on the turn, when people donk out, it's almost always a draw. I find her a really weak hand. So you can, obviously, there's a couple different lines you can take with that. You could repop him and then just jam the jam the river, which will obviously work if his hand doesn't improve. And we're obviously continuation bet down here in the bottom right. 6s. Just gonna check there, and we hit our heart, so we're just gonna value bet a little bit smaller because if he does come over the top, he has to have the ace, almost always. Although he did just min raise, I call, pots it at buck something. He can shove pretty easily. This is where I get into tricky spots here because it is only 16 cents. I don't have to be right that often. He just has to be taking a stab at it every once in a while. So oh fuck. We were going to call there, and we're just going to check call this river because I think we have the best hand. But like I was saying up here, that small bet's usually somebody trying to get to the river cheap, and you can easily float it, and then when they make another tiny bet on the river trying to get a cheap showdown or hoping you just have nothing and fold, you can just come over the top and they're going to fold almost always. And people just don't like calling check raises or re-raises on the river because it's obviously not a drawing hand. It's either a bluff or the nuts, right? So they got to make a call. Pretty good pot here. A pretty good flop here for us, obviously. This guy's half stacked, so if he did c-bet, I would probably just come over the top and shove all in. And try to get folds, and then hope to hit if he does call. I wouldn't want to just re-raise him because then at this level, a lot of people are going to think they have fold equity at that point, and we might just get jammed on by hands that just so happen to beat us. So we did get called there. We hit a jack on the river. I highly doubt he checks that flop with a queen, so we're going to just make a... Ooh, fuck, that's got to be careful. We just got to make a small value bet here against a 10. And we flop a raise here, so we're going to value bet that. And he did check king queen on the flop there, which is a little bit not good in any way. And we did get, what did I not bet there? We did, we are going to bet there in the top left. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy with the way we played that hand, obviously. Just given the way it played out. AC, I'm going to check and then call and or bet river, no matter what comes out. But yeah, obviously just the way the hand played out, like he's taking a pretty low variance play, obviously, by checking that queen. But I guess it's a pretty it's a pretty dry board, so it's not horrendous. But like you're just, I mean, that's a spot where you're going to c bet every single, every single hand that you have. So you're just, when you're not c betting there, it doesn't make sense when you have the queen, because you're just going to do it with every other hand that you own. Obviously, it worked out from this particular circumstance, but and I'm pretty fine with the way we played this hand. Obviously, we raised pre, we got called, we c-bet flop, check turn to keep his range pretty low, and then he check called the river. So that's just how it goes. He could have a huge variety of hands in that particular situation. So fine with that. So I'm probably going to fire up a home game once I get it, like, I don't know. I guess we can kind of talk about that once I get some more some subscribers going and whatnot. And we'll do like, I don't even know, every like 10 videos we can do a home game maybe, or every time the bankroll increases by $50 or something like that, we could do a home game. We could play with that a little bit. The queen 3 suited, that we're just giving up against under the gun raise. And this is a limped pot. I'm gonna bet. The thing you have to be careful with in the really low stakes games is players don't like to, like, nobody really plays aggressive, right? There's a lot of limping, there's a lot of like weak play. This is kind of a loose open here, but given our skill advantage post flop, I'm not, hating it. Ace 3 of diamonds is definitely a 3-bet potential, because then we're just in a good spot post, no matter really what comes down. And we are going to just call here, given stacked up. The fact that we have, I don't know, it could have been 3-bet actually. And the queen jack's just a fold there. Ace 3 diamonds. See, we're check folding here. If we 3-bet that, we're just giving ourselves way more opportunity to win the hand. So I'm fine with that. And here we should have squeezed the ace queen suited. That was a bad play. And we're just obviously value betting down to the river. There's going to be a lot of ace x hands that he floated the flop with an ace. Oh wow, we're just running into hands that are just killing us here. I'll just give up there. Obviously calling that. So I'm not quite sure how we didn't get any. Wow, like he would have stacked us there if he played aggressive. Ace 8 of hearts. We're going to 3-bet this. But again, that's a situation that I'm kind of talking about where you're not going to lose a ton of money by value betting really light because you're not going to get bluffed off your hand very often, but you're going to get a ton of calls by people with like really weak hands, like weak aces, like weak top pairs and stuff. You're going to get like 3 streets of value a lot of the time. So we do have to be careful with playing hands like we are kind of playing a little bit with like the ace x hands. They're not the best to play. Ace 9 isn't bad in the cutoff, obviously. Kind of don't know what happened on the flop, so I'm just gonna check. And obviously we're just gonna value bet here. Queen 7 will open up. But yeah, we have to be careful with playing hands like ace x hands and getting into situations where we can't fold like a weak top pair, just given how much value we're getting, or equity, I guess I should say, post flop. So like a 7-4 diamonds is a much better hand for us to be playing than an ace 7 from UTG +1 or whatever you want to call it. So King 9, we're just letting that go. 7-3, we're folding. This guy 3-bets us like nothing, and we're in position with a suited hand, so we can't fold to that. And we obviously have to call here on the flop. Except when he overbets like that. Which is really, I don't even know what to make of his hand, but it's just like, I have no idea. We're just folding to an overbet like that with second pair and a 3-bet pot. And we'll value bet the 7s here. Oh, I do not have a 7. We're gonna isolation raise obviously in the top left, fold 7-3, the 5-8, the Jack-8 suited from essentially the cutoff because this guy was sitting out. We're gonna raise it up, four-handed or five-handed. Get a call from the button, perfectly expected. We flop middle pair. We're basically gonna probably barrel twice, like his. Well, he folds, so that's fine. H7 off. See, that's a hand we're going to tighten up here under the gun. We're not going to be playing that anymore. King 6 suited, I will isolate against an early position limper because a lot of the time they do have weak hands or they have very, very strong hands and they're going to overplay their weak hands or overplay their strong hands and they're just going to make it pretty obvious on what to do post flop. And then when we do get called in a situation like this, some people might be like, oh crap, now I'm up against 3 players, right? But the reality is actually you now have an extra like 8 cents in the pot now, and this guy has to be worried about this guy's hand. So when he calls here, we know he has to have something decent. He's not just going to call with air. And this guy is limp calling, so he's going to have a really, really wide range in comparison to ours. We hit trips on the turn here, so we're just going to call, and then we're just going to jam river if he bets again. We're going to isolation raise down here. And this guy calls us. There's just really not a lot he can be drawing with, so I'm just going to check behind. And now we're just going to value bet. I don't think he's folding a queen very often, so we'll go a decent size. This guy bets into me. We'll have to make the kind of call because I think I'm not really sure what he would have. He would definitely have a queen, and he just like really overbets it. The thing is, people have been watching Isildur or whatever for so long that like this overbet bluff, like people think it's a good idea, and I totally disagree with it, but you know, whatever. And I'm just going to call here with all these short stacks and hope one of them comes over the top, and then we can just get it in. And we are just going to fold the king 6 and the queen 7 and the queen 5. So obviously not exactly what we wanted to have happen. We are going to float this flop because there are a ton of aces and kings in his hand that I am ahead of. Like every single, you know, face cards. Like 2 face cards are always raising there, and we're ahead of every single one of them. So we are going to float, and now that he double barrels, we're probably just going to give up because his most likely hand now when he does double barrel could potentially be something like king 10 suited or ace 10, but more likely like jacks, queens, kings, aces, something along those lines. And obviously we isolation raised here. We got a nice top pair, decent kicker, and a limped pot, so we would expect to have the best hand here a lot. We would expect to see some draws and whatnot. I wouldn't expect to see a lot of king-queen hands out of this button. At least I'm pretty sure I limped this pot. I hope I did, or I'm playing this hand fuck. And we obviously are not folding here on the turn. 4 is opening up. So if he shoves, we call. He's probably getting decent chance he's got us beat at this point. King, queen, I would suspect, or 3-4. Yeah, that's fine. And we hold, so that's good. Nothing wrong there. He should have jammed on the flop, I would say, instead of just floating or folded pre. Let's just check this hand here quick. Or no, so it was isolation. Yeah, okay. So I just opened that hand up, and then I got a bunch of callers already. So that's fine. Obviously, these guys didn't have strong hands. If they had something that was like queens plus, jacks plus, or obviously tens plus, they're going to isolation raise because those are hands you don't want a ton of people in post flop, right? You don't want to go to the flop with pocket aces with 3 players, right? Like all you have is a pair of aces. You know what I mean? Like people are going to like kings, queens, aces. They're all awesome hands pre flop. Excuse me. But the second you go post flop, they become useless. There's no draws. You have no draw equity. You're just hoping you're either hoping you flop a set, or that they flop top pair and you have an over pair and you take it down. But even in that case, it's not very often you're going to stack somebody. So you want to try to get it in or as much money into the pot pre-flop so that it becomes a situation where, okay, if they have top pair and you do have an over pair, then you'll be stacking them. I like to raise 4 times when I'm in the small blind, not 3. But I did raise 3 there. Just heads up. 9-8, obviously against the big open and a 3-bet, we're just going to fold that, fold the 6-3. So the ace-king, we pop up. I really don't like getting it in with ace-king pre-flop in these small stakes. Like, I used to love it because people got in with ace jack and ace queen every single time, and now I don't remember the last time I went in all in, pre-flop. I'm gonna call this. I should potentially 3-bet that, and obviously we're not gonna fold. And we're gonna see about this, but I just don't. It's not very often where I get in money in post flop or money in pre-flop and I don't see queens plus. And we're probably gonna check call obviously again. That's pretty obvious. We're not going to fold top pair with a decent kicker to 2 barrels on this board. I doubt he's going to triple barrel me with air, so if he does make a big bet, I probably will just give up. And he checks back, and so this is a case where he does have ace jack, which is fine. And some people would argue folding that turn. I'm not one of them because there is going to be a lot of bluffs in his hand. We're just not doing anything in the bottom right. But again, in that case, it would have been a good play for us to 3-bet because then we could have c-bet flop. He would have called. We could have c-bet turn. He would have called, and we probably would have jammed a river, and he would have folded ace jack, given just how much strength I'm showing. And he does have some badges, and he's probably a somewhat decent, not decent player, but he plays enough poker to know. Would be my guess, and obviously we're isolation raising these guys. And the king 9 is 0.2. We ISO'd here pre-flop. We're obviously continuation bet on a board like that. We're not going to do anything in the bottom right. This guy snap calls us. We're probably going to give up. And, well, that makes our life easy. But we'd probably give up here because this, like, cold call after, like, he limps, I raise, and he doesn't 3-bet me. It's going to be king, queen, or ace. Yeah, he's going to be king, queen a lot. And the other thing is when this guy comes back over the top in that spot, he has pocket aces every single time. There's like that. This hand played out exactly how you could not read a book. Like they could have flipped their cards over just the way the hand played out. That call is always either like a decent pocket pair, like 9s and under or something like that. King, queen, king, jack, jack, queen, ace, queen. A lot of the time because it's an interesting spot to be in with ace queen because if you 3-bet, I'm going to fold every single hand that you beat, but then I'm just going to repot this. That you beat, and then you're just going to be in a bad spot with a good hand where you're just not going to be folding. But then when he calls here, that's like instant calls. Even if he didn't instant call, like that call is like almost always a queen with this guy still in the mix. And then when it's repop, that's aces. Like that's you can't shove that. You have to, even if you're going to do anything, it has to be a call. Because when you shove, like, what is calling you? Absolutely nothing. So I'm gonna check that spade because of that min bet he made on the flop, and then called the re-raise. That's either like it doesn't even make sense. It has to be a spade draw. Like, I'm not. I almost want to call just to see if I'm right, but we can't do that. It just is a spade draw. I would love for him to have showed me a card. And time, we have to see about this obviously with the queen high flush. Fuck, I'm gonna run out of time everywhere. So yeah, we're value betting this like crazy. Like this is a good board for us, obviously. Pretty much the only hand at this point that we're scared of is pocket jacks and maybe king jack. And we're just gonna c-bet give up here. Actually, I'm probably just gonna check that. Hit a 9 on the river. We're gonna call here. Oh, that's a great turn card for us. Back to value betting. And he jams the river. So if he has queen 10, so be it. Obviously, we're not going to fold top set, second nuts. We're going to hope he has like king ace jack or something. We'll get to see what he has at least. And we turn the nuts on the turn. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to, oh shit, that's 20, not 10. I got to pay attention more, boys. And I think I'm just going to shut that down. 5-7s. All right, it's not bad. So that's fine. That hand played out kind of as we expected. I wouldn't have minded to see him like raise on the flop, but also not really. So he played that hand pretty well, obviously given that, you know, there's a flush out there. And where's that? Obviously, given that there's a flush out there, he played that hand pretty straightforward. We had the queen high flush. We're obviously continuation betting. We pick up a top pair, puts us a hand ahead of a ton of his range. Pick up another pair, and then we just shut down on the river, and that's how it plays out. So we're fine with that. And the ace queen in a 3-bet pot that he called out of position is going to be a c-bet on a king high board, because we have a ton of kings in our range. This pro fitty guy's on quite a few tables, and he does just give it up to us, so that's good. And we'll fold the queen 5. So I'm probably going to be shutting this video down soon. I've got some things to do before I get back onto the grind later tonight. So I guess this is kind of video number 2. Probably video 2, 3, and 4, I guess. I'm not sure how long I've been playing. So we'll see. So I guess we'll just sit out next big blind on all these tables, and when that's that, we'll end the show. 4 deuce, we're just going to fold it. And the jack 7, we're going to fold that. The 8-5, we're going to fold that. We're going to fold the queen 7. I'm just going to sit out. Oops, I don't want to move. I didn't know you could do that, though. Actually, that's new. Requesting a seat move. That's interesting. And jack 3 suited. Let's play one more hand. Why not, right? We're going to raise it up. We get called from the guy with the short stack, which we have to take into account. We get a 5-8-5 flop. This is a spot that gets interesting because it's like we could have a massive range here, so we could easily have a 5. I'm gonna fold the ace 10. He comes out firing. We're just gonna fold it, and we're just gonna sit out next hand. Stop trying to move my seat. All right, so that's it. We'll be back again shortly with another video. My Twitter and Instagram and Twitch feed. Maybe my Twitch feed. I have a channel, but I haven't really started streaming videos yet on it. So it may be in the comments below. It may not. Either way, check it out. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. So this is Grind It Out video 2. Signing out.